Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Death by Disney podcast. I'm your host, Adam, and I'm on a mission to watch absolutely every single Disney movie out there. And my review today is going to be for Toy Story 2 from 1999, starring, of course, Tim Allen, Tom Hanks, and Joan Cusack. And the plot of the movie is that when Woody is stolen by a toy collector, Buzz and his friends set out on a rescue mission to save Woody before he becomes a museum toy property with his Roundup gang Jessie, Prospector, and Bullseye. So here's my original review. I watched the original Toy Story movie when it came out, and I probably watched the second one when it came out as well. Recently, I watched both back to back in the same day, and I have to say, while the first installment of the franchise is a monumental piece of filmmaking because it ushered in a new era of animation, parts of it don't really hold up. I mean, that a lot of the animation of the human characters is horrifying. It looks really, really creepy. The second movie, even though it came out a few years later, the animation looks much better, although it's not totally perfect. The animation at this point was not at the stage where things are not creepy. For example, there is a dog character in the film that is animated more like the idea of a dog than an actual dog. They were still having troubles animating real creatures. The toys look really awesome in this, and I have to say, even though the story of the sequel is a lot more complicated than the original, I actually prefer this one. The whole franchise has this idea of growing up and what you lose when you grow up, that Andy's growing up. Um, and the toys are kind of there as a sort of mirror that children can look at. They know it's about the toys being sad that Andy's growing up, like I said earlier. Um, but kids can also realize, oh yeah, I'm also going to grow up someday, and I'm not going to be playing with these toys anymore. And things are going to change for me, and I think that metaphor is at the heart of the franchise. It's in this part of the story as well, but there's also this idea of collecting toys and preserving the history of childhood. I think it says something also about how adults view childhood and how children view childhood. Adults want to make childhood this kind of picture that they sometimes remember, and they want things to be like, oh, I watched this movie when I was young, and I'm going to show you this movie, and we went here when we were young, and I'm going to take you there. We kind of want our children to have the same experiences that we had when we were young, and it's kind of an artificial exercise. That's why the movie works so well, because it's all about that conflict of this artificiality of preserving the past and recreating the past, and on the other hand, being open to what actually happens in the future. So yeah, I gave this one an 8 out of 10. I gave the original 6 out of 10 because I really do feel that the story is more interesting in the sequel than in the beginning. And usually in these episodes, I like to give you a bit of trivia, but unless you're like a really deeply involved in Toy Story, the trivia is not that interesting. And then I like to give you a negative review and a positive review. And the positive reviews are all like, this is my favorite film, this is my favorite film. So let's talk about the negative review. 1 out of 10. I give it a 2. Like the number of this episode. Unbelievable. How can it be possible? Hey, up there, there's a mistake. A movie like that within the first 250? I can't imagine which are the reasons that can lead someone to give it more than a 3 to this. Hollow trash. Unless you are a child, of course. There's nothing special in it, not the plot, the screenplay, the animation, nothing new compared to the first episode, and nothing innovative compared to other movies. And that's from 2001, from the beginning of the IMDb website where they had, the top 250 movies. And I think that site is really interesting actually when it comes to rating movies because you can clearly see the movies that like really were popular at one particular time. So if you go and look at that list now, Toy Story 2 isn't on it because that movie was released, what, 26 years ago? But movies that are on it are like Oppenheimer. And I haven't seen Oppenheimer, but I would doubt that it's one of the 250 greatest movies of all time, you know. But there are like things that are clearly great movies, like Treasure of the Sierra Madre, um, Seven Samurai, Grave of the Fireflies, all of which I've reviewed on my channel recently. So, yeah, would I say that Toy Story 2 is the best movie of all time? No. Is it one of the best? I don't know. That's also debatable, but it's definitely an improvement on the first one. And I think at the time you probably couldn't see the advances of in animation now that we can some 26 odd years later. So you can clearly see that it's better than the first one. And the story, I think, is also more relevant than the first one. And I think that that review probably they didn't actually watch the second one. And that's also a case of people reviewing things that they haven't actually seen because they assume that it's this way. You know, I'm sure we'll come to that again in other episodes of this. All right, all right. That is my review. This has been Death by Disney. Please like and subscribe and leave a comment. What did you think about Toy Story 2? Bye bye.